Released in 1994, The Mask became one of the biggest comedy films of the decade. With its groundbreaking visual effects, unforgettable characters, and Jim Carrey's incredible performance, the movie quickly became a worldwide hit. Even after more than 30 years, fans still remember its hilarious moments, iconic green face character, and unforgettable catchphrase, "Somebody stop me." But have you ever wondered what happened to the cast after the movie became a massive success? Where are they today? What do they look like now? And what are they doing in 2026? In today's video, we'll take a look at the Mask cast then and now, exploring their incredible transformations, career journeys, and some fascinating facts you may not know. Let's get started. 1. Jim Carrey, Stanley Ipkiss. The Mask. There's no better place to begin than with the man who made The Mask unforgettable. Back in 1994, Jim Carrey was one of Hollywood's fastest rising stars. Playing the shy and unlucky bank clerk Stanley Ipkiss, he completely transformed once he discovered the magical mask. His over-the-top expressions, cartoon-like movements, and unmatched energy turned the character into one of the most iconic comedy performances in film history. Interestingly, many of the wild facial expressions seen in the movie weren't created using CGI. Jim Carrey performed most of them himself, thanks to his incredible physical comedy, which amazed both audiences and the filmmakers. At the time, Jim was 32 years old and had already become a household name thanks to hits like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and Dumb and Dumber. But The Mask took his popularity to an entirely new level and established him as one of the biggest comedy stars of the 1990s. Fast forward to 2026, and Jim Carrey is now 64 years old. While he still occasionally appears in major film projects, he has stepped back from acting compared to his busy years in Hollywood. In recent years, he has spent more time focusing on painting, artwork, and personal projects, often sharing his creative work with fans. One interesting fact is that Jim is also an incredibly talented painter. His artwork has been displayed in exhibitions around the world, showing a completely different side of his creativity beyond acting. Although he has slowed down his acting career, fans still hope to see him return for another unforgettable performance someday. But Jim Carrey wasn't the only star who became famous because of The Mask. The next actress made her Hollywood debut in this very film and went on to become one of the biggest stars in the world. 2. Cameron Diaz. Tina Carlyle. For Cameron Diaz, The Mask wasn't just another movie. It was the film that launched her entire career. At just 21 years old, Cameron made her acting debut as Tina Carlyle, the glamorous nightclub singer who immediately caught Stanley Ipkiss's attention. Even though she had never acted in a feature film before, her confidence and natural screen presence impressed both audiences and critics. Following the success of The Mask, Cameron quickly became one of Hollywood's most sought-after actresses. Over the next 2 decades, she starred in blockbuster films including There's Something About Mary, Charlie's Angels, Shrek, and Bad Teacher, becoming one of the highest-paid actresses in the industry. Today, in 2026, Cameron Diaz is 53 years old and looks just as elegant as ever. After taking a long break from acting to focus on family life and business ventures, she surprised fans by making a return to Hollywood. Alongside acting, she has also built a successful business career and has written books about health and wellness. A fun fact many fans don't know is that Cameron nearly lost this role because she had almost no acting experience. However, after multiple auditions and months of training, she impressed the filmmakers enough to land what became her breakthrough performance. And while Cameron became a global superstar, the movie's main villain also delivered a performance that fans still remember decades later. 3. Peter Greene. Dorian. Tyrell. Every great hero needs a memorable villain, and in The Mask, that role belonged to Peter Greene. In the film, Peter played Dorian Tyrell, a ruthless crime boss who would stop at nothing to gain power. Throughout the movie, Dorian uses intimidation, violence, and manipulation to control the city. But everything changes when he gets his hands on the magical mask. Unlike Stanley Ipkiss, who uses the mask for fun and confidence, Dorian becomes even more dangerous, turning into a nearly unstoppable force during the film's explosive finale. Peter's intense performance gave the movie real stakes and created the perfect contrast to Jim Carrey's energetic comedy. Without a believable villain, The Mask would never have been as entertaining. Back in 1994, Peter Greene was already building a reputation for playing tough and intimidating characters. His sharp facial features, serious expressions, and commanding screen presence made him a natural choice for villainous roles. Today, in 2026, Peter is 60 years old. While he no longer appears in major Hollywood blockbusters as often as he once did, he continues working in independent films and television projects. Over the years, he has remained a respected character actor, earning praise for his ability to bring intensity to every role. One interesting fact is that Peter also appeared alongside Jim Carrey in another famous 1994 film, Clean Slate. Before the Mask helped make him recognizable to audiences around the world. But even the most dangerous villain couldn't steal the spotlight from one of the funniest police officers in movie history. 4. Peter Riegert, Lieutenant Mitch Kellaway. Every superhero story needs someone trying to figure out what's really going on, and in The Mask, that responsibility belonged to Lieutenant Mitch Kellaway, played by veteran actor Peter Riegert. Kellaway spends most of the movie trying to capture the mysterious green-faced vigilante. Although he believes the Mask is responsible for the city's chaos, he eventually realizes that things are much more complicated than they first appeared. Peter Riegert's calm and believable performance helped balance the film's outrageous comedy. While Jim Carrey delivered non-stop energy, Peter grounded the story with a more realistic and serious approach. In 1994, Peter was already an experienced actor, with decades of film and television work behind him. His professional image and natural authority made him the perfect choice to play the determined police lieutenant. Today, in 2026, Peter is 78 years old. Although he appears less frequently on screen than in previous decades, he still occasionally takes roles in television series and independent films. His long career has earned him the respect of audiences and fellow actors alike. Many fans may not realize that Peter has also worked behind the camera as a writer and director, showing his passion for filmmaking extends far beyond acting. But while the police searched for the Mask, one loyal friend stood by Stanley's side no matter what happened. 5. Amy Yasbeck, Peggy Brandt. Amy Yasbeck played Peggy Brandt, a newspaper reporter who initially appeared to be helping Stanley Ipkiss. Friendly, confident, and ambitious, Peggy quickly earned Stanley's trust. However, as the story unfolds, audiences discover that Peggy has her own plans. Instead of helping Stanley, she secretly betrays him by working with Dorian Tyrell in exchange for money. Her shocking betrayal became one of the movie's biggest plot twists, and proved that appearances can often be deceiving. Back in 1994, Amy Yasbeck was becoming increasingly popular through both television and comedy films. Her natural charm made Peggy seem trustworthy, which made her betrayal even more surprising. Today in 2026, Amy is 63 years old. Although she has reduced her acting schedule over the years, she occasionally appears at fan conventions and entertainment events, celebrating classic films from the 1990s. Outside of acting, Amy has dedicated much of her time to charitable work and raising awareness for heart disease research, following personal family experiences. Many fans admire her not only for her acting career, but also for the work she has done to help others. But if there's one character who stole hearts without speaking a single word, it's the next one on our list. 6. Max the dog. Believe it or not, one of the most lovable characters in The Mask wasn't even human. Max, Stanley Ipkiss's loyal Jack Russell Terrier, became an instant fan favorite. Throughout the movie, Max repeatedly saved Stanley from danger, retrieved the magical mask, and even outsmarted the villains on several occasions. His intelligence, loyalty, and hilarious reactions added even more charm to the film. Many fans consider Max one of the greatest animal companions in comedy movie history. The dog who played Max was professionally trained long before filming began. Thanks to that training, many of the tricks and actions seen in the movie were performed for real rather than being created with special effects. Even after more than 30 years, Max remains one of the most recognizable movie dogs of the 1990s, and clips featuring his funniest moments continue to attract millions of views online. Sometimes, the smallest characters leave the biggest memories. But before we wrap things up, there's one final actor whose role connected many of the movie's biggest moments together. 7. Richard Jeni, Charlie Schumaker. One of Stanley Ipkiss's closest friends in The Mask was Charlie Schumaker, played by comedian Richard Jeni. Charlie worked with Stanley at the bank and was always encouraging him to be more confident, take risks, and enjoy life instead of letting people walk all over him. Although Charlie didn't have as much screen time as the main characters, he played an important role in Stanley's journey. His advice and friendship helped show just how shy and insecure Stanley was before discovering the magical mask. Back in 1994, Richard Jeni was already one of America's most popular stand-up comedians. His quick wit, clever storytelling, and energetic stage performances earned him appearances on some of television's biggest comedy shows. Many fans recognized him long before The Mask because of his successful stand-up career. Sadly, Richard passed away in 2007 at the age of 49, bringing an early end to a career that had brought laughter to millions of people. Even today, comedy fans continue to celebrate his unforgettable performances and unique sense of humor. Although his role in The Mask wasn't the biggest, Richard's natural comedic timing helped make Stanley's ordinary life feel believable before everything changed. And finally, let's talk about the legendary director who made this unforgettable movie possible. 8. Chuck Russell, director. While he never appeared on screen, Chuck Russell, deserves just as much credit as the cast for turning The Mask into a worldwide success. Before directing The Mask, Chuck had already built a strong reputation in Hollywood through successful action and horror films. But adapting a comic book filled with cartoon-style humor into a live-action movie was a huge challenge. At the time, many people believed it simply couldn't be done. Fortunately, Chuck Russell had a different vision. By combining groundbreaking visual effects with Jim Carrey's incredible physical comedy, he created a movie that felt like a live-action cartoon. Instead of relying entirely on computer-generated effects, much of the comedy came from Jim Carrey's own performance, which made the film feel even more unique. The result was an unforgettable comedy that became one of the biggest box office hits of 1994 and introduced a completely new style of superhero comedy to audiences around the world. More than 30 years later, The Mask is still considered one of the greatest comedy films ever made, and much of that success can be credited to Chuck Russell's creative direction. Final thoughts. More than 3 decades have passed since The Mask first hit theaters, but its popularity hasn't faded, thanks to unforgettable performances, groundbreaking visual effects, and a perfect mix of comedy, fantasy, and action. The film remains a favorite for audiences of all ages. Over the years, the cast has followed very different paths. Some became Hollywood superstars, some continued working steadily in film and television, while others chose quieter lives away from the spotlight. But no matter where life has taken them, they'll always be remembered for being part of one of the most iconic comedy movies ever made. Even today, The Mask continues to entertain new generations, proving that great movies never truly grow old. Outro. So, which member of the Mask cast surprised you the most? Was it Jim Carrey's incredible career, Cameron Diaz's amazing Hollywood journey, or were you surprised to learn what happened to the rest of the cast? Let us know your favorite character in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Then vs. Now videos featuring your favorite classic movies and TV shows. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.